Good morning. I'm actually doing one in the morning, which I never do. And welcome to Positivity with Marianne. I never usually wear t-shirts with writing on them, but the other day I was online and an ad for this shirt, actually their PJs, showed up, and I thought, how can I not get these? Not only do they have my message, they're my favorite colors. I love aqua, and I like to wear it with black. So here we go. Sometimes the things you're looking for, if you know what they are, find you. And we'll talk about that on a later one, because what I wanted to do with this one, as we're creeping towards spring, is talk about making small changes. We all have had a challenging year, and there's the whole range of what people have experienced, but everybody's been affected in some way. So we might want to be a little more positive. We might want to start improving some habits. A lot of this was hard to do when there wasn't a lot of hope on the horizon. It was hard to think about taking on a project or sometimes just getting out of bed. But now with all the vaccines happening, now with the projection that everyone who wants one can get vaccinated by summer at the latest, it's time to have a little hope. And if we want to make some changes, the best way to do it is to start small. And I'm coming at this from two directions because, as always, as I'm doing this, I'm in the process of researching and writing more lessons for my Success for One 101. And I'm reading the book called Atomic Habits. And when I first saw that title, I thought it was like super duper habits. But it's, as I start it and get into it, it's more that it's the size of an atom. If you want to make a change, start really small. And if you want to have a certain kind of result, you have to do more of those things. So let me give you two examples of that. I don't want to keep this too long because it's, for me right now, I usually don't tell you when it is. It's a Sunday morning. It's warm out in New England. I mean, not really. It's 36 degrees, but that's warm and there's no snow, and I'm going to go take a walk. So, the two things I wanted to mention, he mentioned in the author, and I don't have the book handy and I'm not going to go get it right now. You can look it up, Atomic Habits. He mentioned if you make the slightest change, you can have a big result. Well, that's easy to say, but how do we really wrap our minds around that? He said if you took off from California and you were headed to Washington, D.C. on a plane, and the direction was off, it was either 3 or 4 degrees to the north. That's little. I used to teach geometry. That's a tiny little angle over here. Can you see it? That's a tiny little angle. But as it goes out, it widens. And he said if the pilot was aiming for Washington and didn't correct, they would have ended up in New York. Wow, that's a big difference, right? The good news is, and I'm telling you this from pilot's perspective, you're always correcting when you're flying, whether it's for the big jets on autopilot or the little planes like I was flying, you're always, correcting because the wind's affecting your flight. But let's not get into aviation. I love aviation. This is not the place for that. Oh, by the way, my tea for today has nothing to do with aviation. It's an old mug. It says, it's very hard to see. Yeah, it's probably too late to even say. It says Fraser on that side, and it says NBC on the other. I got this as a gift. I helped our local NBC station with an event many, many years ago, and that was the gift. So it's a good-sized mug. I like it for that. And I've got cold green tea because that's what I feel like right now. Anyway, so a small change that you make, repeated mostly because it takes us 21 days to build a habit, can make a big change. So think to yourself, what kind of a life do you want? Do you want a happy life? Then you've got to make some little happy changes. Do you want to know more about a subject? You got to learn little snippets of it. They call it that 10,000 hour rule. If you want to be an expert in a subject, you have to be involved in it for 10,000 hours. Like they said, the Beatles played for 10,000 hours before the famous Ed Sullivan Show, before they became famous. They played every night in a bar, I think, in Germany. But it's the little bit. I used to do this example in some of my seminars that, you look at pearls. Pearls are, gorgeous pieces of jewelry. Real pearls are made from this substance being put over an irritation. So think of the things that irritate you. If you can wrap it around with some positivity or another way of looking at it, you will develop little moments that I call pearls in your life that'll make a gorgeous necklace. But it's the little things. You want a happy life? Make some happy moments, because if you string together a bunch of happy moments, that's pretty much a happy life. Not all of it, right? Doesn't have to be happy all the time, doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be anything except what you want it to be. But it's all about the little things. So I want you to keep that in mind as we go forward, is that if you want to make a positive change, it doesn't have to be big. Big is overwhelming, especially nowadays. When you think about taking on something big, it's almost exhausting. So let's not do that. Let's make a little change. I started walking, it's a year ago now, but I pretty much walk every day now, and I hadn't walked for ages. I started a little walk around my little block, and it's been growing. What can you do this week? Have yourself a wonderful week. I'll touch base with you soon, and keep that positivity, keep that smile, keep that happy going, and keep shining. We all have light inside of us, and we need our light more than ever. The world needs you. See you later.